Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Today is Amazon Prime Day, or days since now it's 2 days, but I really wanted to get this video out. That's why I actually did it in this format, so I could get it out much quicker before stuff starts selling out, because there are some amazing deals here. And before I get started, keep in mind that all of these links that I go over are in the description below as affiliate links. Please click on those. They don't cost you anything more, and it really helps out the channel. And starting things off, we have the Ryzen 5 2600 for $120. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Gamer Meld, what about the Ryzen 3000 series? I thought that was amazing, and it is. I mean, don't forget that this is a 6-core, 12-thread CPU for $120. So for those who have kind of higher multi-threaded workloads but have a really small budget, this will be a really good buy for you. And speaking of multi-threaded workloads, the 2700X is only $199.99. Now, of course, they are doing this specifically to get rid of old stock, but you know what? This is how you do it. This is flat out a fantastic deal. I don't really suggest this specifically for gamers, especially if you have a really good GPU, because for just a little bit more, you can get, say, the 3600 or 3600X. But basically want to do some content creation, just things that require quite a bit more threaded performance. Not really Adobe products, because actually the 3600 I do believe does quite a bit better than the 2700X, but other multi-threaded workload applications, the 2700X still does a great job for $199.99. Moving along, as you can see, yes, I have Newegg. I actually have a few of these sprinkled throughout here. And the reason why is actually because, once again, just like last year, Newegg is doing kind of their own deal day, or whatever you want to call it, to compete with Amazon's Prime Day. Right here, it is a great option for those who are wanting something like the 3600, 3600X, as well as the RX 5700. If you're going to get it, you might as well save 40 bucks. Next up, we're getting into the graphics cards. The first one is the RX 570, and this is going to be really great for esports people. Some 1080p, not for really high frame rates, but at $120, once again, it's a great buy for budget builders. Now, if you aren't a budget builder, you can get the 2080 Ti. Now, I know that this is still expensive. Honestly, I wanted to say that this is a great deal, and don't get me wrong, it's still $220 off, and it's still an okay deal, but at the same time, the price is just so high to begin with. But if you plan on getting the best, which I will say that it may not be the best for long, I actually did a video on that recently. You can check that out right here up top. But if you were going to get the 2080 Ti, once again, $220 really isn't that bad. Next up, do not buy this. I specifically have this on here to let you know, do not buy this. There's quite a bit of RTX cards that are going around where they're trying to get rid of old stock. This is not how you do it. $70 may seem like a great deal, but whenever you can get it for $40 more, a 2070 Super, which is essentially a 2080, the deal starts looking pretty bad. And I say 2080, I mean, the 2080 does pretty consistently beat it. I think it beats it 100% of the time, but at the same time, the 2070 Super is pretty close. Moving on to PSUs, we have the Thermaltake Smart 700 watt PSU for $33. Now, I've kind of heard good and bad things about Thermaltake, but with these great customer reviews, and no, it isn't modular or anything like that, but we're talking about $33, and that's a lot of wattage to play with. Next up, we have the start of our storage, and obviously this isn't really for PC gaming, but specifically for gamers in general, especially those with like the Switch. This is a great deal. Yes, you're only saving $5, but since it was only $25 to begin with, I believe that they actually had this deal last year as well, but basically you've got a 128GB micro SD card for 20 bucks. And moving on, if you want to get half that amount of storage, but at half the cost, you can get the 64GB G-Skill for $749. Next up, we have the Intel 660p. Now, there is something that I do want to say about this. It is still a great deal. I mean, we're talking about $100 for 1 terabyte, but here's the problem. This is a QLC drive, and that's basically the low of the low, and the issue that you're going to have with it is once it gets nearly full, it starts slowing down insanely. We're talking much slower than like a SATA drive. So that's one major issue, and that's why Intel 660p drives are pretty cheap. But once again, it's only $100, and it's 1 full terabyte, so not too bad. Moving on, we have the Samsung 970 EVO. This is a 500 gigabyte model. It has read speeds of 3,500 megabytes per second, and it's only $90. That's a great deal for an M.2 drive. We're talking $60 off, so it's 40% off right here. Great deal if you need some pretty decent storage. Next up, we have something a little bit slower at 3,400 megabytes per second. Once again, 500 gigabytes, but you save $10 from the Samsung. And Western Digital is definitely, I bought quite a bit of their drives. They have some really great drives. And I'm sure their SSDs are great as well. Moving on, we have now, this is not an SSD, but it is a hybrid drive. So this is a SSHD drive. It's 2 terabytes for $60. That's a great deal, even if it was just an HDD, to be honest. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the hybrid drives, but at the same time, they're still going to be better than a regular HDD. And like I said, 2 terabytes, $60, fantastic. Moving on, we have the Logitech G502. Now, this is interesting. This mouse is actually my daily driver. I love this mouse. I really do. It has these right here are your G switches. These are DPI switches, but at the same time, G switches can be macroed to be pretty much anything. I kept them as DPI switchers because I do prefer kind of moving it around, especially depending on the game. But it also, let's see, it also has, so you have the DPI switches, then you have the 2 right here, and then you also have, this is like a really quick, it drops your DPI really drastically to make like really hard shots in, say, FPS games and stuff like that. But it's also a G switch. So all of these can be macroed, really great. Love this mouse, and it's only $50. So fantastic deal there. And moving on, now this, if you're looking for a wireless gaming mouse, I can't even begin to describe how fantastic this mouse is. I use the G602 for gaming on my couch for years, and I love it. It literally lasts, I'll actually show it to you right here. Bought this many years ago, and right now the reason why it's actually on my desk is because I've personally been using it for my test bench just because I wanted a wireless mouse. And the thing is, because this mouse exists, it makes me question how in the world any gaming companies can even begin to have a wireless mouse that only gets like 8 hours of battery. Now, I understand that there's reasons for that. Maybe it's a very high DPI mouse or something like that. But even in performance mode, and keep in mind, I never experienced really any lag with this mouse, performance mode or not. But even in performance mode, it lasts like hundreds of hours. When you're not using it, it shuts down or goes into a sleep mode, even though it instantly wakes up when you start using it. So it's pretty much like any mouse or any wireless mouse, but it lasts, I mean, it'll last you months. So it's a fantastic mouse. Notice 0 lag. It has quite a bit of buttons, I will say. All of these are G switches. Once again, you've got the DPI switchers. Really love this mouse, and it's $25. Cannot beat that deal. Anyway, moving on. We have the Razer Death Adder, probably one of the, if not the most popular FPS gaming mice. Now, I will give a quick caveat and say from my personal experience, I bought one not too long ago. I actually bought it before I bought the one that I'm using right now, the Logitech mouse. It was really weird because after like a month, if that, the rubber, and I'll try and show you, it's, let's see, like this rubber like down here, yes, because this is all plastic. Okay, this rubber down here started to peel, and it was just, I started noticing it all the time. I'm not sure if it's something specific to me, but either way, a lot of people love this mouse. I personally didn't care for it, but at $35, it's at least worth a try. Next up, we have the Corsair K68. This is a really popular mechanical gaming keyboard. I've personally never owned one, but at the same time, I've tried them out at Best Buy. They're really solid keyboards, and if you're looking for a mechanical keyboard, just regular RGB, nothing too fancy, this is a great deal. But if you're looking for super fancy, the Corsair K95 is also on sale, nearly half off from its list price. And as you can see, it comes with the scroll wheel, the media scroll wheel. I really love that feature. It also comes with macro keys over here, as well as it looks like there's now an RGB up at the top. And I will say that I don't think I've ever seen that on these before, but I'm really not sure. But looks pretty cool. $110, very solid keyboard, will last you many years. Moving on, we have the HyperX Cloud, and this is something else that I've never used, but I have heard like the microphone on it, and it sounds really good, and I know a lot of people love these. Even though they're only 15 bucks off, it makes it $55. Really great deal for a really great headset. Next up, we have all you need to know is a great wireless headset for gamers, $70. I love wireless headsets. Lately, I've been using my wired ones, but that's just because they're open back and the sound quality is just amazing. But at the same time, the closed back really does sound great. And these, from what I know, I mean, Corsair's a great company. Haven't used these, but they do seem to be very favored. Next up, we have a laptop deal, and this is a great deal for anyone that wants like esports gaming on a laptop, as well as it comes with an i7-8750H. So this is a 6-core CPU, which means, you know, if you're wanting to do some kind of multi-threaded workloads, not too crazy, but at the same time, I just think if you're looking for a decent gaming laptop as well as a decent laptop for content creation, this is a great buy. Moving on, if you're looking for a really high frame rate monitor, this Dell 144Hz 1080p monitor really isn't bad for $150. Obviously, 4K is becoming bigger, 1440p monitors, but you know what? If you want to keep it simple and you want high frame rates, $150 is probably the best you're going to get for something like this. Next and finally, we have the HP Pavilion. This is going to be a really great desktop if you're kind of scared to build your own. Obviously, I do suggest building your own, but at the same time, some people just don't even want to deal with it. If you have a really tight budget, but you want some actually pretty decent 1080p gaming, this is a great buy for you. It's $479.99. It has an RX 580 and a Ryzen 5 2400G APU. So it's really just a great entry-level desktop all around. Okay. As you can see, there's a ton of deals on there. Just wanted to highlight the ones that I really liked. But let me know what your favorite deal is down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe. And as always, have a great day.